Dr. B. Santosh Kumar, Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, GMR Institute, Andhra Pradesh. He has published in 22 papers indexed in SCI and Scopus journals. He has published 31 papers in various in international and national conferences. He has published 13 papers for various research publications, and he is published in book database management system, and he is getting various awards. Yes, just a minute. The awards received Best Performer in Infosys Campus Connect program, and received I2OR Bright Research Award 2018 award from International Institute of Organized Research, and received Young Researchers in Computer Science and Engineering award from Global Outreach Research Award. Once again, I welcome to Dr. B. Santosh Kumar. Sir, please.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Today I'm going to discuss about that security related issues in blockchain technology. So before going to the blockchain technology, how that blockchain technology was introduced. So in the olden days, so we are doing transaction by exchanging our product. Then afterwards, that with help of that materials like gold or silver, silver coins, so we are doing some transaction. Then the currency was introduced. Then afterwards, we have with help of the currencies, we are exchanging our product, or if you want to buy some product, means with help of currency, we are buying that product. Then later, that online transaction. So with help of that many apps, nowadays we are using that PhonePe app or Google app or any Paytm app. So many apps we are using. So through that also we are doing some transaction. But all kind of this, we are depend on that third party. So the third party means, so our databases are stored in that particular bank, and they are maintaining our information in their server. It is a centralized server. So for an example, if any hackers, they are very good in hacking, they can easily steal our information from the centralized server, because we have to give that more security in the centralized server. So by avoiding that, in the year of that 2000s and between the 2000 and 2010s, they introduced the concept of the blockchain technology, which was that prerequisite is from that year of 1992, the digital timestamp. So in the digital timestamp was paper was written by two authors. They introduced in the year of 1992. So the concept is digital timestamp. So from that concept, so they are implementing the blockchain technology. So the blockchain technology is a peer-to-peer transaction. So peer-to-peer network we are using. The peer-to-peer means, so from our system we are sending to another system. So there is no need of that third-party involvement in that. So for an example, I want to transfer some money to that another person, means, so I have to install that particular software in my laptop. So that particular person also, they have to install their laptop. So normally in Google Pay or PhonePe we are doing, so that Google Pay app we are downloading from the Play Store, and we are installing that Google Pay in our mobile or any device. So with help of that, we are directly sending that money to that our friend or anybody. So in the Google Pay or PhonePe, we are depend on that centralized or third party, and our databases are stored in the centralized server. In the blockchain technology, so that is not happen. So in the blockchain technology, whatever the transactions we are storing in our system, so from our system we are sending. So in the blockchain technology, we are using either it may be a public network or private network. So there are some losses are also happen. So there are some 3.79 million of the total Bitcoin in transaction has already been lost forever. So actually that Bitcoin is a leading cryptocurrency which we are using in the blockchain technology. And also, so there are first ever Bitcoin transaction was happened in the year of May 22nd, 2010 by Hennies. So for purchasing the 2 pizza, he used 10,000 Bitcoin. So that is the first transaction happened in the using the blockchain technology. And also there are some personal loss also happened. So $7,500 US occur when James Howell accidentally threw away an old hard drive containing his private keys. Actually, he is a mining hacker. So with help of that mining cryptocurrency in 2009, he mined around 7,500 Bitcoins. So he cleaned his room. So that time by accidentally he threw his hard disk. So in the hard disk it contains the passkey of that Bitcoin. So it was that 7,500 Bitcoin in the year of 2013. At present, in the January 8th, it reaches that Bitcoin value. It reaches the maximum. It means it is nearly that 41,000. It means that the 7,000 Bitcoin value is $280 million US. But he forgot that passkey. So actually it is a 6-digit passkey. He know only the first 4 digit. Then the remaining 2 digit he forgot. So he tried 10 attempts, but in the 10 attempts he failed. Actually maximum the 12 attempts are allowed. So only the 2 chances are left. If in the 2 chances also if he failed means he will lose 7,000 Bitcoin. So that is the largest personal loss by an individual. So this is what happened. So today problem is, so we all are, say either it is a customer, a supplier, bank, insurance, auditor, so everything they are depend on the third party. So that our company also they are depend on the third party. Even the bank also, if they want to maintain that server means, so they will maintain the server, but in many cases they are depends on only the third party. So that each entity maintain its own set of accounts. So there are no single version of truth. So there because they are third party, they are maintaining, we don't know how much security they will give. So we are talking about that so Aadhaar. So we are thinking that our Aadhaar is more secured, but that many sectors, for an example in telecom sectors, they are, if we are placing our fingerprint, automatically our details will be displayed. So for an example, if you want to purchase one SIM card also, so that Aadhaar, if you are pressing your thumb impression in the sensor, in the thumb, in the biometrics machine, automatically your details will be available. So they can do any kind of forgery because they are dependent on only the third party. Then that it is a reconciliations, so that it is inefficient, then expensive and vulnerable. So normally in Google Pay you are using, but in Google Pay and all, they are not charging for you. It is free of cost, but they are indirectly they are charging it. It is meaning that, so with help of that advertisements, so the advertisements are displayed in the Android apps. So for an example, that every second they are displaying the advertisement. Suppose so you are booking one flight ticket, so from your home to some other destination. So for an example, you take it as I'm going to book my ticket from Vizag to Coimbatore. So I'm searching in different tabs, that mytrips.com is there, makemytrips.com, or some that so some flight agency, they are also having their own app. So example Indigo, so and all. So I'm searching for that particular date. Then after that, I will close that app. But if I'm going for some other app, so in that in the advertisement, that details will be displayed. That particular flight details. So for an example, I want to book for on so today date is 22nd. So I want to book flight for 30th means, so in the 30th, so that availability are displayed in the advertisement. So example that makemytrip.com or some other websites, it is displayed. So because of that advertisement only, they are earning their money. And for that third party, so normally in the bank and all, they are maintaining their data in the servers. So for that, they are for an example, if you want to do any transaction, so they are charging. So for transaction, they are charging. Or for an example, if you want to, so they are sending that SMS. So for that also yearly they are charging, or sometimes that some banks they are quarterly they are charging. So for that they are collecting money. So that is waste of money only. So if you are going for that blockchain technology, So without any third-party inference, so you can transfer money from your end to another end. So this is already I told. So long ago that by using the physical coin, they are exchanging personally. That recently we are exchanging through bank. It is remotely trusted third party. So for an example, Amazon or Google Pay or Phone Pay. So anything you can take. So it need of our it means that trust maintained by technology. So then the exchanging money, goods and energy, anything. Suppose for an example, you are having 5,000 rupees in your account. So it is for urgently you want to do some transaction. So do some transaction means you want to book, you want to send to that any other person. So in that situation, some problem may occur in the server side. Our server will be down or due to some maintenance. So now that all the banks are merging. So for that they are taking that maintenance. It takes some 2 to 3 days. So they are sending the messages. So because of that maintenance, so we are not unable to service for these 3 days. Like that, they are sending message. Or sometimes due to that power loss also, or some hard disk crash. So anything may happen. So because of that, some problem may arise. So if you consider, so for an example, in 10 years ago, for an example, I want to take money from the ATM machine. So in the ATM machine, that gap. So only the 36 currencies will come out from that particular gap. Suppose I want to withdraw 5,000 rupees. So from that ATM machine. So only that 100 rupees currencies are available in that particular ATM machines. So I want to withdraw the 5,000 rupees. So it means that the 50 currency will come out from the ATM machine. So then only my amount is 5,000 rupees. So because of that gap, so it is we can get only that 34 currencies. So 34 currency only we can get. So after that deducting money that from the machine, it will send it will dispose that money through that gap. Because of that insufficient space, that money will not come out. So automatically it will return to that particular machines. So for that conditions, because that already that amount was deducted from my account, it is not refunded. So initially it takes 1 week or even 1 month also they may take. But I am having only that 5,000 rupees only. So for that condition, I have to write the letter to the particular bank, or I have to wait for some time. So nowadays it is within the 24 hours, or they are telling that maximum within 24 hours they will rectify the problem. Even that if the money is returned also, immediately we'll get that message. Automatically our amount will be credited to our account. But in the olden days, so these problems may happen. So for that condition, if you are using that Bitcoin, so blockchain technology, so you can easily transfer that amount to that any persons. So initially the transactions with or without blockchain technology. So we are that suppose that Alice want to transfer that $10 to Bob means. So she have to depends on the particular bank. But if you are going for that blockchain technology, she can directly send to Bob. It is a peer-to-peer network, P2P. So from the Ally system, through that blockchain, that peer-to-peer transaction, that Bob will get the money. Suppose that many people are involved, our company also involved means, so that time also, so for settling that, for an example, through that online, I'm going to pay that money. So for suppose I want to purchase one product from one particular company means, so I have to send money through that particular bank only. So that is a third party only. So whatever the transactions are happened, that is stored in the third party server. If any failure occur means, so there is all will affect. So if we consider the next diagram, it is a peer-to-peer network. So suppose Alice want to transfer some money to company B means, so she can easily transfer. Automatically after the transaction, that automatically that transaction details are updated. Then that will be converted into a particular block. So likewise we are performing. So it is that blockchain, it is considered as a block. So with the help of that link, they are connecting. So we know about that linked list concept. So in the linked list, we are using that node. So in the node, it contains the data and the, if it is a single linked list means that node will contain the data and the previous address. If it is a double linked list means it will contain the data, previous address, it means the predecessor address, and the next address, it means the successor address. So here in this concept, in the blockchain technology, they are using the concept called a single linked list. So that is meaning that the data and also the previous address. And also one more thing also they are storing. So that is hash value. So the data and also that hash key they are storing in the blocks. So the next that I already told that digital timestamp was introduced in the year of 1991. Like it is like a notary. So the digital timestamp, it is a mark, a PDF signature with the time and date as a proof of integrity. So normally, if, for an example, if any document that it is government related document, if you are downloading the document, automatically that digital timestamp was available. So in the digital timestamp means, suppose so on this minute I want to generate that I want to download some document means in that the digital timestamp was available. So the digital timestamp means it contains the date, today date, month, year, along with today that hour, minutes, and seconds. So these details are available in the timestamp, so that any person can know so what time that particular data was downloaded. So a timestamp shows that is the content of the document. So it is existed at the point in time and are unchanged. So for added security, the digital signature can include a timestamp for an independent or trusted authority. So these two persons, that Stuart Haber and W. Scott, they only created that idea. It is a main idea in the year of 1991. So that the paper name is How to Timestamp a Digital Document. So these two people only that written the concept, and they are only giving that idea for digital timestamp. So this is the prerequisite for blockchain technology. So by using this concept only, they introduced the concept called blockchain technology. Then that blockchain, it is a growing list of records called a block, so that are linked using cryptography. So the cryptography giving that security to the transactions. So in the cryptography means, so we are using that many, so there are many algorithms are there. So different algorithms are there. If you take that SHA-256 hashing algorithm, so that is a leading algorithm which we are using in the blockchain technology. And also apart from that, we are using that AES, it is Advanced Encryption Standard, then triple DES, so it is a data encryption standard, then blowfish algorithm, then twofish algorithm. So there are many algorithms we are using. So the each block, it contains the cryptographic hash of the previous block. It means that previous predecessor address, then a timestamp and a transaction data. So that is a block each block contains. Then why we learned that blockchain technology? So the blockchain has quick evolved a trailblazing technology that is being integrated into existing system and processes across industries now. So in the blockchain technology, because of this concept, so after that data are generated, then it is created to a particular block. So in the block, we can send securely. So for that, we are using in the many fields. It is all that encompassing field, which is predicated to have that far-reaching implications in the future. So there are listed below that are the reason why we should use that blockchain now. So there are some scenario they are giving. The first one is that it is a blooming job market with excellent career opportunities. So nowadays, that blockchain technology or data science are playing a vital role in the software industry. So the many colleges, they are introducing this this subject as in their curriculum. Then that I demand for that blockchain professional. So if you are very good in that blockchain technology, so you may get that huge opportunities. So that these are all that sexiest job in the 21st century. So if you are very good in that blockchain technology, so some people, they are using the private network also. So in the private network, so they are using that corporate software. So if you are very good in blockchain technology, you can get that opportunity also. then increasing adoptions of blockchain technology, then an extensive range of application across that various industry to improve the data privacy and ensure that better cyber security. Then descriptive technology for improved transparency and better governance to make the smarter investment and increase the profits. So because of this reason only, so nowadays that most of the people are very much eager to learn the blockchain technology. Then these are some of the cryptocurrencies we are using in the blockchain technology. The first one is a Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Zcash, Dash, Ripple, Monero, NEM, Stellar. So these are some of the Bitcoins we are using. But if you consider that Bitcoin is the most used cryptocurrency in the blockchain technology. So most of the people are thinking that Bitcoin is a blockchain technology. The Bitcoin is not a blockchain. So blockchain is to Bitcoin, it is like a internet to email. So the blockchain, in the blockchain techniques, we are using that one cryptocurrency. One of the application is Bitcoin. So like that internet, so the internet is it's a vast area. So in that vast area, email is one of the applications. So like that in the Bitcoin also, one of the cryptocurrency which we are using in the blockchain transactions. So the Bitcoin is introduced by Satoshi Nakamoto in the year of 2009. So if you search this person identity in the Google or anywhere, you won't get that particular person images. So if you take that any other people, so their identity, their photos are available in the Google. But if you search that Satoshi Nakamoto photo, it is not available. So actually that some people are telling that Satoshi Nakamoto is a 4 companies, so they only created the concept called a Bitcoin. So 4 leading company in Japan, so they only created the concept called Bitcoin. So that Samsung, it is a SCA, Toshiba, it is TOSHI, then Naka, so Naka is a Nakamichi, and Moto, so Moto is a Motorola. So these 4 companies, they introduced the concept called Bitcoin. So that is the name called Satoshi Nakamoto. It is a 4 giants. And also they created some rules. So in that means, so we can use up to the 21 million Bitcoins. So we cannot create more than that Bitcoins. So that limitations are there. There are 21 million Bitcoins only we can use. So the concept introduced in the year of January 3rd, 2009. So they published one paper in the name of by using the Satoshi Nakamoto. It is a Bitcoin. So that paper name is Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And also some of the fact about that Bitcoin. So in the Bitcoin value that initially it started from 0. Then as per today, that Bitcoin value is as per that today that Bitcoin value equal to 31,084 US dollar. It means that it is, if our Indian rupees, it is 1 Bitcoin value is equal to 22,84,886. So in the 8th January 2021, it reached the maximum value. So it means that 40,675.8 US dollars. So 1 Bitcoin value equal to 40,675.8 dollars. So which is equal to 29,84,765 Indian rupees. So that is a peak value. But that values was not stable because of the security issues. So that values are not stable. So sometimes, so if, for an example, in the year of 17th December 2017, it reaches the $19,783. But in the next year, it means that 17th December 2018, within 1 year, it reaches 3,300 US dollars. It means that 76% of decrease. So then from 2018 to the January 2021, it reaches 41,000. So that is a drastically increase. So now, so today date is 22nd. So it reaches only the 31,000 US dollar. it is somewhat decreasing. So it is not, they are not maintaining the standard values. This is a blockchain. So this is a blockchain. It will it contains a block. So in the block, it contains the data hash and hash of previous block. So in the data, it contains that what is the from, what is the to address, then how much the transactions are happen. Then the hash value. So by using your fingerprint, that after the transaction, so the data, so you have to place your fingerprint. So by using that fingerprint, so they are generating that hash key value. Then in the block, it contains the previous block address also. Then afterwards, once the block is created, then then the number of blocks are connected. Then in the next block, with the help of that previous hash key value, we are connecting that particular block. So this will make the blockchain network. So for an example, you take this example. So the first block is created. So that block address hash value is 1Z8F. Normally the first hash value we take it as 0000. So then the second one, so the second block, the yellow color block is also created. So that particular hash value is 6BQ1. So the previous hash value, it is 1Z85. It is connected to this block. So automatically these two are in the blockchain network. So then the red color, so the red color, that hash value is 3H4Q. So here that the second block address was connected. It means that 6BQ1 is added in the third block. So automatically these three are connected in the blockchain network. So like this. Suppose one intruder, you want to change some value. In the second block, I am sending that only that $100 to one particular person. So he changed that $100 to $10,000. Then after changing, automatically that new hash key value will be generated. So initially that it was 6BQ1, that hash key value. But the intruder, he changed the value, it is H6 to Y. So after that, immediately that whomsoever they are available in the network, they will get the notification. So that second block, that new hash key value will be H6 to Y. Suppose you want to do some modification. In the particular block, you can't do any modification. So if you want to do any modification means you have to create a new block. So in the new block only you can write all the things. Then only, so that particular notifications also, it will send to whomsoever available in the network. So in this condition, so that new hash key value will be created. So as per the Bitcoin rules, so more than 50% of people verify your record and they are authorized your transaction, then only your transaction will be authenticated and it is showing that your transaction will be verified. So in this case, suppose they are doing some verification. So here that if you check the third block, so in the third block, that is the previous hash value is 6BQ1. So they will check whether the second block hash key value, it is 6BQ1. So it is not 6BQ1, it is H6 to Y. So that particular block is something was happened. So immediately that person will not verify your transaction. So if more than 50% of people verified your transaction, then only your transaction will be authorized. So otherwise, that the previous one only retain. So for this reason, so they will maintain that security. So all are connected in the peer-to-peer network. So all are having that block. So for an example, you consider I am having one magic book. So I am giving that magic book to 100 people. So in the 100 people, so whatever changes I made, so that will be reflected in the 100 people's book, that magic book. Suppose one person, he is writing something means, so automatically that notification comes to that remaining 99 peoples. So likewise, we can verify our block. So in this block, suppose I want to add one new block. So one new block means first I have to add in my network. Then afterwards, I will send that notification to all. So in that particular block will be added, but it is not verified. So after that, more than 50% of people verified that one, then that is authorized. So after that more than 50% of people verified your transaction, then automatically all will get that verified data. So that it may be used in medical records or e-notary or collecting taxes anywhere. So the blockchain is an up and only ledger. It is a sequential databases. They are maintained by decentralized network of user because we are not depends on any third party, and also our details are not stored in the centralized server. Whatever the transactions are happened, that will be stored in my machine. So if I'm sending that one person's one particular that Y, the person is Y means, so in that particular person machine only the details are stored. So apart from that, the details are not stored, then it is responsible for agreeing upon that additional to the chain, and it is secured through cryptography. So by using that cryptography algorithm, so in the sender end it is encrypted, and in the receiver end it is decrypted. So this is how that blockchain is work. So first I am requesting a transaction. So the transactions are broadcast through the peer-to-peer network consisting of node. Then it is validation of the transaction. It is consensus. So the consensus is it's a general agreement. It is also called as a mutual agreement between that. So whatever that, for an example, if you are installing that one particular software means, so after that reading that document policy, you have to give that agree. So then only it will go to next step. So likewise, it is also the consensus also, it is a general agreement. Then afterwards, it is verified, transactions are verified, and it may be include the records or contract, anything. So whatever that personal data also, we can that data also after that we can we can convert into block. So the people are, so in two ways the people are earning the money. So what the first way, that with the help of that normal currency, so for an example Indian rupees or US dollars or any money, so euro dollars, euro, that currency for any money, so we can purchase that cryptocurrency, say either Bitcoin or Ethereum, so any currencies. And in the second way, by doing that mining, so it means the Bitcoin mining. So the Bitcoin mining is, so in the network, so after the transaction, so we have to verify, so whether the particular person's details are right or wrong. So we are verifying that particular block, we are verifying, but we are not verifying inside the data. So what are the data are available? So that is different. So that is hacking. It may be, so that is hacking, but we are verifying that whether the transaction is right or wrong. It is meaning that by with help of that hash key. So for an example, I am in the 10th, so I am in the 10th block. So I am verifying from the 9th block. So 9th block, I am checking the previous hash key value. It means that 8th block key value. So it is right means then I'll check that 7th, then 6th, 5th. Likewise, I'm checking. So by doing that mining also, that it is meaning that Bitcoin mine also, I can earn that Bitcoin. That I already in the starting I told that James Howell, so he also did that Bitcoin mining only. So from that he earned that $7,500. So here that a verified transaction can include the records, contract, etc. Once the transaction is verified and it is added to block in the ledger. So in the ledger it is in the form of digital ledger. So then, so that is newly added block joins the existing chain of blocks. So that is called a blockchain network. Then after that our transaction is completed. So this is what happened, and this is what that blockchain was working. Then we are calling that important one is distributed ledger. So so we are using the private network as well as the public network. So here we are talking about that only the public distributed ledger. So in the public distributed ledger, which was available in the distributed environment, so nowadays we are using that distributed environment only. So we are not sharing that entire data to the other servers. So we are doing either it is a fragmentation technique, either it may be a vertical fragmentation or horizontal fragmentation or hybrid fragmentation. So according to that, we are sharing only that particular details. So public distributed ledger is a collection of digital data which is shared, synchronized and replicated across the world, across the multiple sites, countries and institutions. So now let's consider a block that can be accessed by anyone in the network around the world. So whomsoever they connected in the particular blockchain network, they can access that particular network. It means that they can mine or they can verify. So in that mining also they are giving certain rules. So for an example, today they are giving for an example only I'm telling. So for an example, one mining they are giving some or 100 mining they are giving 1 Bitcoin means. Then after 4 years, so if regularly if you are doing means after 4 years, that Bitcoin value will be reduced to half. It means that now I'm getting that for 100 mining, I'm getting that 1 Bitcoin means after 4 years, I'm going to get only that half of the Bitcoin. So that is a rule which was created by that that inventor, that is Satoshi Nakamoto. So that it means that 4 giants in the Japan. If someone tries to alter the data in one of the block, everyone in the network can see that the alterations. It means that once that anything was happened, that automatically in your network, that is it was notified. So they are using the concept called trigger. So they heard about the trigger concept in database management system. So in that trigger means so there are 3 different stages are there. So event, condition, actions. So for an example, one event is happening, then automatically it will check the condition. Once the condition is satisfied, then automatically we will get the notification, event, condition, action. So we are watching that cricket match. So in the cricket match, so we are not refreshing our browser, but after every ball, we'll get the updation. So that is the use of that trigger concept only. So once that over is completed, or once the ball is completed in that particular over, automatically that informations are notified to all other viewers. So the same thing was happened in the blockchain network also. If any data are altered, in your particular block, immediately whomsoever are available in your network, they will get the notification. So this is where the data tampering is prevented. So immediately, if you, for an example, in your mobile, you will get any updation means, so you will get the notification. So for an example, that new versions are introduced means, immediately you will get the notification that particular new versions are available. So suppose you install 10 version, so the 10.1 is currently available. So in 10, there may be some blocks or some flaws are there. So by avoiding that, they are rectified and they introduce the 10.1. So immediately you will get notification. Then you will install your updation. So likewise, they will in the blockchain also, immediately after that any alterations are happening in your block, immediately they will get the information so that they can verify that particular transactions was happened or not. Whether it is a correct transactions, then everything they will notify. And once that more than 50% of people they verified your transaction, then only that particular block will be added to the blockchain. So this is why, so for this way, their data tampering is prevented. So there are many types of distributed ledgers are available, and also that security and privacy reasons also given. So that confidentiality, the first property is confidentiality. So in if you take that Bitcoin, that Ethereum, Stellar or Blockstack, Hashgraph, so we are not using any confidentiality, but in IPFS, they are using hash-based content addresses. Then that information availability, you heard about that concept called RAID. So RAID means that redundant array independent disk. So that in that there are several types are there. So each and for an example in RAID 0 we are using the concept called mirroring. So likewise here also they are performing. So here in the Bitcoin they are using the block mirroring. It means that the similar type of block will be copied and stored. In Ethereum also we are doing the block mirroring. In Stellar we are using the ledger mirroring. IPFS we are doing graph and file mirroring, and Blockstack we are doing the blocks mirroring or DHT mirroring. Or in ASH graph, we are using that ASH graph mirroring. Then integrity. So integrity means we are adding more security. So normally in the databases also we are adding more integrity. It means that primary key. So we are adding that primary key, or we are giving that integrity as not null, or sometimes we are using some default, or we are using the check constraint. So everything. So we are giving that additional security. So likewise in blockchain also. So we are giving some additional integrity. So for Bitcoin, we are giving that multiple block verification. So if the so here they are telling that more than 50% of people they verified your transaction, then only yours your transaction will be authenticated. So likewise, so in Bitcoin also we are using multiple block verification. Ethereum also multiple block verification, because they are it is these are all it is public. They are using mostly they are using that public key. Then for Stellar, we are using the latest block verification. It means the previous block only we are verifying. Then that for IPFS, we are using the hash-based content addressing. For Blockstack, it is multi-block verification. Then hash graph, we are using the consensus with the probability one. So consensus is a general mutual agreement. Then for non-repudiations, here we are using mostly all are using the digital signatures. Then provenance. So the provenance, they are using the transaction input output. For Ethereum, it is Ethereum state machines and transaction functions. So likewise, they are using. Then the pseudonymity. So here that in Bitcoin they are using the public key, and in Ethereum they are using the public keys and contract addresses. In Stellar also they are using public key and IPFS public key. In Blockstack they are using public key, but it is public information are encouraged. But in hash graph it is not supported, could be layered. So like then selective disclosure. So for all first four it is none. Then for Blockstack only it is selective access to encrypted storage, but in hash graph it is not supported. This is a component of blockchain. So in the blockchain it contains the decentralized application, nodes, blockchain transaction and infrastructure. So in the decentralized applications, it is having the development and deployment, then runtime execution and API. Then in nodes, it contains that accounts and membership for key management. If it is a public key, so there is no key available. If it is a private key, so there are some keys are available. It is like a OTP. So it is a OTP means it's a one-time password. Then peer-to-peer connectivity. So in the blockchain technology, it is a distributed consensus. It means that mutual agreements are given. Then on-chain data. Then incentives and charging management. Then for transaction, it is the distributed ledgers are available, off-chain data are available. Then ledger-to-ledger interoperability. And for infrastructure, we are using the cryptographic hash, messaging, and events. Then we are going to discuss about the public and private blockchain network. So in the public and private blockchain network, so in the ledger for public, it is open to everyone. So anyone can access that particular block. Access means they can check whether that particular transactions are happen or not. But in the public network, that one drawback is there. So in the public network, we cannot find that destination address. So that only that, for an example, only that source address will be available, but in the public network, there is no destination address are stored. Only that, for an example, I am sending to that particular person means I will know, but that destination, that whomsoever I am sending, he may change that particular block, or after the transaction, he may delete that details. So in the year of May 2017, we heard about one attack, that is ransomware attack. So in the ransomware attack, all the files are converted into .micro extension or .zepto extension. So in that, so the ransomware attack people, they demanded that people who are affected by ransomware virus, so all the files are converted into that extension. So we cannot able to open that particular file. So they demanded that, so they have to send the money through Bitcoin only. So from the Bitcoin, they got huge amount of money. So because that drawback is there, because if you are using the public network, we cannot we don't know who is the destination address. So that if you are giving the complaint to any cyber crime also, they cannot identify, because if you are using that Bitcoin transaction, that the sender address will be not visible, or also you cannot take that information. So for that reason only, on 17th December 2017, it reaches the maximum value. That time it is $19,783. And also nowadays, so like in India, we are having that MasterCard ATM or Visa ATM or some other private sector ATMs are also available. Suppose that some people, they are not having that bank also, they are having that ATM. So likewise, in the September 2019, there are 5,457 Bitcoin ATMs are installed in US, Canada, UK, Australia, Austria, and Spain. So there are Bitcoin ATMs also available, so they can do whatever the transactions through that particular ATM. Though that concept was introduced in the Japan, but in Japan, only the few Bitcoin ATMs are available. But in the US, Canada, UK, Austria, and Spain, there are huge number of Bitcoin ATMs are available. So that mostly that European countries only, they are using that Bitcoins more. Then the ledger, if you are using the private ledger, it is close to unauthorized user, because only that authorized user, they can use the private network, private blockchain. So in the private blockchain, we know to whom we are sending that details. Or for an example, if you want to transfer that money also, to whom you are sending the details, that is also available, because after converting that block, you are sending. So you are encrypting your details and you are sending. So with the help of that key only, you are encrypting your block. So that particular key, you have to send through mail or through mobile. So like that, we are sharing that one-time password. No? So likewise, so for that, you have to know the particular person's details. So if you are using that private network, you can easily know who is the destination address. Then that identity, the second one is identity. It is a public network, it is anonymous or pseudo-anonymous, but in private network, it is known. Then that access to network, it is permissionless, but this one is a permissioned. Then code, it is open source, but here it is closed development. Often that patent are proprietary. It means that only the corporate companies, they develop that software and they are giving to that particular persons. So there are a lot of apps are available. For some apps, we have to pay some money and we have to purchase that app. So if you are paying that money means, so only you can access that particular app. So in the app, for an example, for anything happen, that particular company only taking care of that loss. Then the code is, it is open source. So then that the difference between open source and so what is that open source means that whatever that software you are using, that source codes are available. According to our wish, we can modify that code and we can create the exe file. If it is a freeware means, so in the freeware, so they already developed the code, they already executed and they created that particular application. But if you are using that freeware means, so you can install only that software, but you cannot modify the code. But in open source means you can modify and according to your wish, you can change. So nowadays, for an example, the people want to create some Bitcoin software means, so they are downloading the software according to their wish, they are modifying that software, they are installing that particular application. So in one African countries, they are converting, they are introducing the concept called ATM. So that time, one particular person, he created that software. So that person, so normally that whatever the transaction we are doing, so that we are checking only the currency value. So it means that only that, so we are not bothered about the digits. So it means that paise. So we are concentrated only on rupees. So So we are not, so if you take that Indian money, so we are concentrated on only on rupee, we are not bothered about that paise value. So that person, he written a code that paise value. So for an example, in your account, you are having some 1700.40 paise in your account. Then after the transaction, that 40 paise will move to that particular person account. So likewise, in that particular country, some 2 to 3 years, the transactions are happen. Then after that, one person identify that after the transaction, that paise value, it is not retained in account. So then after transactions, so suppose he is sending that, so I am having only that 1700.40 in my account. So I am sending that 1500 rupees. Then after that, in my account, that 200.40 value should be there. But only the 200 rupees are available. So he questioned that particular manager, where is that 40 paise? Then only he gave the complaint. Then they found that particular person who written the code, he directly that amount, that remaining amount, that is transferred to that particular person. So on that time they found that he got some billions of money in the account. So that is the drawback of if you are using that open source. So anyone can change that code, they can insert there whatever they require, and they can create that particular software. So for an example, some bad files are included in the particular software. Means if you are installing that software, automatically that bad file also installed. So if you are doing any transaction, any bank transaction, means automatically it will capture your account, your account number or your username and password, and it will send to that one particular person. If you are using that private network, it is closed network, often that patterned on priorities. Then the trust is if you are using the public network, it is no trust. If it is a private network, it is trusted. Then up onto the blockchain, it is proof of work or proof of stack. So the proof of work, it is a form of cryptographic zero knowledge proof in which that one party proves to other that a certain amount of computational effort has been expanded for some purpose. The proof of stack means it states that a person can mine or validate the block transactions according to how many coins he or she can hold. So that is proof of stack. But in private network, it is proof of authority, so it is meaning that only that authorized user can access. Then for example, for Bitcoin, public network it is Bitcoin and Ethereum. Private network is Ripple or Hyperledger. Then authority or ownership, for public network it is none. Then for private network it is a corporate. Then miner or validator, so anyone can mine in the public network, but only that approved nodes are allowed in the private network. So there is a trade-off across the various blockchain types. It is a public, private, a permission or permissionless. Then here we are talking about some property. First one is a confidentiality. So in that, the risk that data is export, not much of the difference in comparison to the traditional databases. Then anonymity difficult to achieve in private or permission chain. So there is need to define that clearly what is confidential identity of party versus transaction. So by avoiding that mitigation steps are consider that off-chain storage for sensitive data. So later we'll see what is on-chain or off-chain. Then use of zero balance proof or homomorphic encryption. It is mean that for analyzing that hash and not plain text. Then anonymity versus data confidentiality trade-off. Then the next one is integrity. So integrity here, the risk that the ledger is fraudulent tampered with is relatively low, more prominent for small chain or private chain. So suppose in your network you are using only the 10 people are in your network means. So as per the conditions, as per the rule, if more than 50% of people are authorized. Suppose one intruder he changed your block value and immediately he will change some 5 to 6 people value. Automatically they are thinking that remaining transactions are verified only, that it is authorized only, so they can give that permission. So by avoiding that, in the So more than 3,000 people, so more than 1,000 people are some 5,000 people if they are in the network means. So there is a so that hackers, they can't change that more than 50% of people value. So example depends on the quality of data input for cargo in transit. So in this the lack of access control example permissionless chain, 10% of attacks against small permissionless chains such as Virgin Monocoin. So in the Virgin Monocoin, so only the least number of people are used, so that they can easily do that 51% of attack against that. So that mitigation steps are considered using the big chain. It means that more number of nodes are added in your network, then there is no PIA, then Oracle and security control to be placed. So we have to add that more secure software. Then availability, and this that participant cannot access, then it depends on the number of nodes and transactions. Then the real-time transaction is a challenge. Then private chains are generally smaller and easily disrupted to traditional DDoS, distributed denial of service. Then interoperability risk, assets are compromised when moving between blockchain. We can avoid that by using the traditional measure like load balancing redundancy and anti-DDoS measure, etc. Then ensure that gatekeeping redundancy in case of permission change. Then the endpoint node and key management, it is protecting a user's cryptographic keys to protect. So normally we are using the key cryptographic algorithm by using many algorithms are there. So if you are using that SHA 256 or AES algorithm, triple AES, so we are generating that hash some key value. So that key value we have to protect. And private have that better KYC protocols for endpoint. So it is meaning that so whomsoever that destination address we can know in the if you are using that private network. So in the public network we cannot know who is the destination. Then from centralized approach to decentralized. So centralized approach normally we are doing in the transactions of bank any transaction, but we are converting it to decentralizations. We own the key, it means that we own that pass key. Then quantum computing could break that current cryptography, including that SHA 256 and the elliptic curve signature algorithm used in Bitcoin. So in the quantum computing, they are using that Shor's algorithm. So the quantum computing is a use of quantum phenomena such as that quantum superposition and entanglement to perform the computing. So it is going for the quantum-based cryptographic system. So that Shor's algorithm, it can easily break that RSA or Diffie-Hellman and elliptic curve Diffie-Hellman algorithm. So we are using in the public network. So that lattice-based crypto systems, if you are using that lattice-based crypto system, we cannot so it's not broken by quantum computing. So we have to use that. So in the lattice-based crypto system only we are using in the private network. So that mitigation steps are uses awareness, then traditional endpoint security layer with encrypted data at the endpoint. In security update that antivirus solution. So we have to secure our system. So for an example, you are purchasing that antivirus software. You install that particular software in your system, but we have to update frequently. It means that weekly once or weekly twice or 15 days once you have to update that particular software, and also you have to run the software in your machine. So then only it will capture any new virus are found means it will capture. So if you are not updating means, so some flaw may happen in that original version. So for that only they introduce that advanced versions. So the advanced versions. So if you are not updating means automatically that your particular that software will not detect that type of virus. So every time you have to update your antivirus. So then diligent security and backup plans is paramount to mitigation the risks. Then the concept called consensus, it is a mutual agreement. So the consensus mechanism, it is a risk that the transaction is approved without adhering to protocol. So there are 51% of attack may happen. That is aimed at that validating fraudulent transaction or rewriting that past transaction. So every time you have to update your agreement, so that mutual agreement. Then that combining that multiple consensus mechanism may introduce the new system level risk. Data integrity is directly linked to the security of consensus mechanism. That proof of work or proof of stacks for public blockchain. Then for enterprise blockchain, that is need to relook. Then the smart contract. So the smart contract is a self-executing code. So they are the lines of code that are stored on your blockchain and automatically execute when the predetermined terms and conditions are met. So it is like a double-edged sword. The risk that the availability of transaction or the trigger event are incorrect, then the automation incorporate vulnerability may lead to immediate financial misoperations. The public chains can be attacked easily in contract with private. The private have the better KYC. I already told. So in the private network means so all the whomsoever they are available networks, so they have to update their KYC. So for an example, if you are using your any app, any that mobile related app means, so first you have to update your KYC, then only you can perform any transactions. Then patching that smart contract is a question mark. Then mitigation steps are secure coding practices, the third party audits using multi-signature smart contract based ownership, then option of self-destruct in certain conditions. So if so in some movies they are showing, so one person is hacking the details in the computer, but after sometimes it is automatically that computer will be destroyed. It is meaning this, so some type of code also you have to install. If anything may happen for your laptop or computer, that automatically it will destroy because they are copying your information. So suppose you are in your laptop or in your mobile, so you are storing all the transaction username and password. So if any persons are hacking that information means automatically it will detect, automatically it will destroy your machine. Then the blockchain is a GDPR paradox. So GDPR is a General Data Protections Regulation, which was adopted by European Union. So there are some similarities also there. There are some differences also there. The similarities are both are generated towards data transparency. Both are learning towards that individual right. Then that aims to provide that more security regarding the personal data. But the difference is that blockchain is immutable. It is meaning that you cannot modify any details in your block. If anything happen means automatically the new passkey value will be generated. But in GDPR you can edit your information. Either it gives the rights to erase or add or delete their existing information. Then GDPR is more suited for centralized system rather than that already existing decentralized one like blockchain. So the GDPR, it is fully depends on that centralized, meaning that some of the third party also involved. Then GDPR requires that user's identity, but blockchain deals with anonymity. Then the secure deployment that is acquired that blockchain expertise, define that security goals, choose the type of blockchain. So there are a number of blockchains are available, softwares are available. You have to choose that which blockchain you are using. So for an example, if you are using that healthcare application, they may use some software. If you're using that blockchain for banking or any money transactions, you may use any software. Then that perform that risk and risk assessment. Then define that security. So define that security, governance and controls. Then choose the security vendor, develop securely, then monitor and audit. So there are some blockchain platform softwares also available. It is examples are Ethereum or Amazon Quantum Ledger Database, then Calido Blockchain Business Cloud, IBM Blockchain Platform, Cardo, Hyperledger. So these are some of the softwares available in the market. So these are some of the top software we are using. So then the risks of blockchains are divided into two types. One is permissionless chains and permission chain. So the permissionless chain means it allows that any party without any vetting to participate in the network. The permission chain means are formed by consortium or an administrator who will evaluate the participation of an entity on the blockchain network. So those are the blockchain risks can be broadly classified under three categories. First one is standard risk. So So the standard risk means the blockchain technology exposes that institution to risks that are similar to those associated with current business processes, but introduces nuances for which entities need to account. So these are some of the standard risks. Then value transfer risk means, so the blockchain enables peer-to-peer transfer of value without the need for a central intermediary. It means that we are not depends on any central person. So without that person, we are transferring from our end to another end. So the values transferred could be asset, identity, or information. So even your, for an example, in your property document also, you can scan and you can convert to block and you can send to any person. So whatever the things are happen, that you can convert to block and you can send. So the new business model exposes that interaction parties to new risks that were previously managed by central intermediaries. Then the smart contract risk. So the smart contract is it's a mutual agreement. So the smart contract can potentially encode the complex business, financial, and legal arrangement on the blockchain and could result the risk associated with the one-to-one mapping to this arrangement from the physical to digital framework. So these are the main three categories happen. So then there are 5 blockchain securities issues seen in the 2019. So because of that only in the December month that value, so that previous year it was the 2017 December, that Bitcoin value is nearly $19,000. But immediately in the year of 2018 it reaches to $3,300. Then that April 2019 it reached to zero. That Bitcoin value it reaches to zero. So because these 5 blockchain security issues, the first one is 51% of attack, then exchange acts, social engineering, software flaws, malwares. So the 51% of attack is, so they are telling that more than 50% of people will authorize your transaction, then only yours is verified and they are added to that blockchain network. So if the number of persons are very less means, so for an example, only the 10 people are available in your network means that those who are hackers, then they can easily change your information. Automatically, that immediately they can change that 5 to 6 people immediately they will change the 5 to 6 people so that act informations are verified and authorized. So the transaction can be reversed and cost double spend by gaining that majority control of a blockchain as straight via malicious entities. So some of the famous cryptocurrencies such as Zencash, Verge, and Ethereum Classics were the victim of 51% of attack in 2018. Because that in Zencash, Verge, only less number of people used, so that less number of people are availed in that particular network. So there was a loss of 20 million last year due to that blockchain security issue. In order to prevent that 51% of attack, being vigilant of mining pools, using a higher hash rate and avoiding using that proof of work consensus mechanism can be measured to take. It is meaning that it is indirectly telling that if you are using that public network, there may be a chance of 51% attack. So better you can move to, instead of proof of work, you can move to the proof of authority. It means that in the private network they are using. Then exchange acts. So the exchange act means that cryptocurrency exchanges are very popular among the hackers as they have large crypto holding without the sufficient security protections. But many cryptocurrency exchanges platform absolute the decentralized benefit of blockchains because they are centralized innately. So there was a loss of 900 million last year due to the blockchain security issue. In order to prevent that exchange acts, it's safer to store the funds via hardware or paper wallet, as it can utilize minimal online touch point to protect that money away from the malicious online hackers. So nowadays that people are interested in that cashless purchase. Suppose I want to purchase that 1 kg gold means I'm not willing to purchase as a product. So in the mutual agreement, so like a bond paper, I will purchase that 1 kg gold. In the paper, so whatever value today, so for that money I paid and I purchased that document, like a document. So we can maintain the document, and we so that papers, so it is in the form of that hardware or paper only, so that we can give more security when compared to that product. So for an example, if you purchase that 1 kg gold means, so you have to keep that 1 kg gold in a secure place. So that is very, very difficult. If any person they are stealing that gold means, so they can easily steal that gold. So they are not checking the papers and all. So for that nowadays that most of the people they are willing to purchase gold in the form of that bonds. So in addition, the decentralized exchange, the DEX is good tool to use in regular trading because it helps on trading directly from the cryptocurrency wallet. So they are telling that for trading and all. So in the stock market and all, we can use the DEX. It is decentralized exchange, so that our informations are very secure. The third one is the social engineering. So it comes in many forms, but it is always obtain your private keys, login information, or more directly your cryptocurrency. So it is meaning that, for an example, one person from any place, he may call that, so that we are going to give that new credit card. So that due to that now they are merging that bank, no, so because of that merging that bank, so they are telling us, so we are merging that bank, so your account in that so and so bank, so that bank is converted into that particular bank, so we are going to give the new ATM cards. So for that we need your old card information, so like that your card number, your validity, and that CVV number, so everything they need. Then after that, so we are entering your data in the system. So now we are sending some one-time password to your mobile number. So if you are telling that mobile number, then we'll authorize that your so we'll verify your KYC. Then the new card will send to your address. Likewise, they will tell. So you are also thinking that, so now that the advertisements are coming, now that are that many messages are coming. So and so bank is merged with so and so bank. So likewise, they are telling. So you are thinking that, oh, it is because they are telling all your information very correctly. So your name, your date of birth, your so all other details you are, so likewise. So you are thinking that it is a genuine one. So you are telling that all the details, then immediately from your account that amount will be deducted. And also you are getting that some mail, so that Coca-Cola company or some other Snapdeal, so they are you are the lucky winner. So you for that so you want some 1 crore. So for that you have to deposit some money. So likewise you are getting that mail also, or messages also, even that mobile also we are getting that messages. Or sometimes they are sending that hard copy also. The hard copy also they are using that same logo, same thing. So we are thinking that we want that lottery, so that we are deposit some money. Afterwards, that particular number will be switched off. So there was this loss of that 3 million loss due to that blockchain security issue. So in order to prevent that social engineering attack, it is necessary to make sure you never send anyone your login credential or private key. It is the private key means it is a one-time password. That OTP for whatever the transaction you are doing, they will send that OTP. So for example, if you purchase any product in the Amazon or Flipkart also, they will send that OTP. If you are entering that OTP, then that is right only. Then only you will get your whatever your transaction, that will be verified. So besides, you should not trust some sound too good, as it is always the trap. Or sometimes you are doing some transaction in the bank. Each number it will give some, it will produce some sound. So for an example, if you are pressing that 0, it will produce some noise. If you are pressing that 1, it will produce some noise. So likewise. So if they are tapping any device that which was connected in that particular ATM machine, automatically, so if you are inserting your card, then afterwards you are entering your password. So that that number, so whatever that ATM pin number, so that one, it will automatically, that sound will be recorded. Then they will match that sound. Then from that they can easily find your PIN number. So that also they are doing. So these are the things you have to take care. The next one is the software flaw. The software flaw means that I already told. There are some because in the private network, in the public network, you are using only the softwares are open source only. So the open source software means anyone can change the code or they can insert their code. So like that, some bad file also they can insert inside the code. So if the software installed that similar time, that bad file also it will install. So immediately, so whatever the transaction you are doing, that immediately they will get the updations. So that any software using the blockchain technology should go over code reviews or penetration testing and smart contract audits in order to test the software and find out the flaws. Or in the agreement also, they may write that hidden words. Suppose in the agreement they are telling that if you're using our software, if you are doing any transaction, means some 10% amount will send to that particular agency. So likewise also they can they can add that in the agreement. So you are not reading full agreement. So directly you are scrolling down, then you tick on that agree button, then you can send that, you can click that next. If you are going for that legal, if you are taking that this issue also legal means, so in there they can tell that, so in the agreement, so we clearly mentioned that the 10% of transactions we can deduct to the particular agency. So you cannot file, you cannot do anything. So there was a loss of 24 million last year due to this blockchain security issue. In order to prevent that software flaws, it is necessary to check it has been audited for any flaws or loopholes by the third party when you use any blockchain based software. In addition, that security protection in your own set is necessary too. Then malware, so that cryptojacking causes that performance issues, increasing electricity usage and open the door for other hostile code due to that unauthorized and unnoticeable takeover of the computer. So normally we are not checking in your machine, if we are not checking that startup program. So what if you are installing any software, automatically that exe file, it is moved to that startup program. So if you are booting your machine, automatically that particular software also it is booted. So without knowing that, in the background it is working. So first thing we have to check that then the startup program we have to check, and also you have to check the task manager. So every time you have to check the task manager. So some application only you are opening in your browser or in your system. So you have to check apart from that any other are running. So likewise you have to check frequently. So there was a loss of multi-millions last year due to this blockchain security issue. In order to prevent that malware attacks, being vigilant is very important. You should frequently check if you have any mysteries program running through the task manager and run regularly the security checks to ensure that it has not been injected with malware if you operate a website. And an important breakthrough is independent innovations of core technology. The security risk problems of blockchain is regarded as a major shortcoming that currently restrict the healthy development of industry. Then frequently security incidents sound the alarm of the industry, because nowadays that all the industries are converting to blockchain, because it is very easy, and also we cannot depend on the third party. So in the third party means we have to pay some money or anything, so we have to bother about that security and all. So if you're doing that blockchain means, so from one to one we can transfer. Then therefore we need to expedite that exploration and establishment of the security guarantee system that adopts to blockchain technology mechanism. So other security issues also, that the data mining attack, linking attack, identity attacks, double spending attacks, re-identification attack, model poisoning attack, statistical attacks, side channel attacks, and query attacks. So these are some of the attacks. But what I discussed, the top 5 attacks. So there are challenges in future research direction, then privacy utility trade-off, privacy consensus mechanism, privacy preserving smart contract, privacy incentives mechanism. So there are so in the future we can expect more number of challenges in this area. In summary on security, the security basics are simple security, defense in depth, then confidentiality, integrity, and availability is trade, security as a process. Then blockchain nuances are decentralization, census mechanism, smart contract, endpoint security, and cryptographic keys. There are some applications we are using. Privacy and security are business and industry, data management, financial, integrity verification, governance, Internet of Things, healthcare, education, etc. Then there are some pros also there, some cons also there. So the pros are that it is a de-intermediations, high quality data, durability and security, high level of integrity, immutability and transparency, longevity and reliability, then simplistic ecosystems, empowered users, fastest transaction, lower transaction cost, new business models and value chains, improved traceability. So some of the cons are it is redundant performance, it is a complex signature verification process, the private key. So that initially told that person he lost his hard disk. So because of that, he will lose some $280 million money. So that is also issue because we have to remember the private key. So there is no proper recovery for that blockchain private keys and integrated concerns, then uncertain regulations, and large energy consumption, no control for enterprise, privacy concerns, then cultural adoptions or disruptions, lack of in-house capabilities, and high cost. Then I'm going to conclude that the blockchain can help reducing that inefficiencies, cost, and fraud while increasing that information feedback value, transparency, and immutability. While it is significantly reduces the traditional risk, it also created new risk. This landscape, this new landscape also include unforeseen risks. So professionals must anticipate risk like never before and gear up for the same. So if that quantum computing technology, if they fully introduce means automatically we will lose that public key. So that public key encryption. So whatever we are using that algorithm, that RSA or Diffie-Hellman algorithm or elliptic curve Diffie-Hellman algorithm, that if you are using that shorts algorithm, so the shorts algorithm only we are mainly using in the quantum computing. So if you are using that quantum algorithm, we can easily break that security. So by avoiding that, we have to go for that Grover's algorithm. So that Grover's algorithm, it is very strong one. So we can go for that. So or we can go for that quantum-based cryptographic systems. So in the technology also, we have to add some other technology. So for an example, in the blockchain technology, we are adding that IoT. So it is called that blockchain, that IoT technology. So likewise, that in the quantum computing also, we can use the quantum blockchain technology. Likewise, we can use. So we cannot depend on only one technology. If you want to give that more security, we can add with some other technology. So this is my details. My mail ID is santosh.b@gmrit.edu.in. My personal mail ID b.santoshkumar@gmail.com. And my contact number is 98436-22130. So this is my WhatsApp number. If you have any query related to the blockchain technology or data science or any other things, you can send message to my number. So my details are available in my personal website. It is sanan.weebly.com. Any other queries?
Participants, any queries related to this session? Dear sir or ma'ams, any queries? Any feedback from this? Anyone give feedback about this session? Sir? Hello, ma'am. No one is there. Hello, dear participants. Can anyone give feedback about this session? Can you hear me voice?
Ma'am, I think that meeting chat is muted, ma'am.
Okay, sir, that and all no problem. But hello, can you hear me voice?
Good afternoon, madam.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes. As I already on some days yesterday, as I told that whenever we are asking for feedback, since we are all listeners like student, I think many of us are hesitated to give some feedback. So, madam, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But actually, whenever we are attending such a program, so definitely, normally we find that at the last session, we may get bored because of continuously listening. But really, it seems that really very, very interesting, sir. Really, we are enjoying the session as we attend the first day, because we find that not only the topic, but the expert members, those who are delivering the lectures are very, very good, really very interesting. And the topics also, since it is the latest topic, and many of us, even though we are teachers, since we are all familiar with only one or two subjects what we are taught to our students, but this workshop definitely it will create an awareness on the latest topic, and that is why it will make us, and I hope that many of us, we are second or third time we are joining the program organized by Excel Engineering College. Even I previously attended two workshops, and based upon my experience, that not only the topic, expert members, and the organization or the method in which the workshop is conducted is very good. That is why third time I am applying, and really I am happy to attend this workshop. And I think we have one more session, and definitely this session will be an eye opener for all of us. And that is why I request even all the faculty members. It is really a good opportunity for us to interact, since we are all teaching faculties. Sometimes, many times, I found that one or two faculty members only they are giving feedbacks, but I don't know why faculty members are hesitating. Because whenever we are giving right feedback, so definitely that will motivate the organizers or the invited lecturers, those who are giving, so they will be definitely, they also be motivated. Otherwise, they think that it may be one-way communications. So I request all the participants also. So whenever there is an opportunity to give feedback, please come forward. And really, I thank the organizers and thank you for your good initiative. Thank you, madam. And thank you, sir,
Thank,
for your nice lecture.
Thank you,
thank
sir,
you,
for
sir.
your feedback, sir.
Thank you so much for Dr. Santosh. Sir, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am. I thank that coordinator, Dr. S. Sridhar, sir, and Ramya, madam. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you to all.
Ma'am, can I leave, ma'am?